Normally, I do an evolution video over a whole series of games, like this one, or maybe this one, or even these two. But since we have followed the development from the beginning of Kingdom Come Deliverance, I thought, why not see how far the game has come? Where did it start, and where is it now? And what has changed along the way? So welcome to the evolution of Kingdom Come Deliverance. The game was first announced in 2013 as a passion project by Daniel Vavra. He wanted to create a medieval RPG without all the nonsense, or as they said in the trailers and numerous blog posts, dungeons with no dragons. There was a Kickstarter video that was initially released on their Warhorse Studio YouTube channel in 2014. And it looks pretty dark, there's a lot of contrast on this, but you can see everything is there and it's in the works. But I guess this isn't really gameplay and it's more in-engine stuff. I mean, look at all those trebuchets. Where were they? Well, I mean, obviously, there's engine limitations and stuff that they couldn't put in the actual game, but hey, maybe it's in the other act that we're waiting for. You can see a nice shot of Rattay. You can see the basis of the town is all there. It's pretty much what we got, but of course, improved textures, more realistic groundwork, and you can see life completely changes. It feels so much more alive and vibrant in this booming town that we get in the current game. It just feels a little bit dead in these first iterations of Rattay. This is one shot that I keep seeing all the time. It's seen in a lot of screenshots and a lot of the trailers, but it's not actually in the game, and it makes me very sad that we aren't actually able to burn people on pyres. I mean, how fun would that be? I want to see people burn. Maybe this is saved for the third act, where we get to burn witches. That would be nice. I mean, there was a witch Easter egg. Or maybe it's just a concept in the plans. But who knows, nonetheless, I really want to burn people. And then there's these pickpocketing animations that we obviously don't actually see in the game, but that makes more sense because they obviously wanted a more realistic. The whole thing is about this Kingdom Come game being so realistic, and having just an animation where you push a button and, you know, slicing it off, you know, that's not really much in a place of a realistic game. They obviously decided to change it to an actual mechanic. If you play Kingdom Come Deliverance, you have a mechanic where you can definitely get caught, or maybe you can get sneaky, or you can even level up your pickpocketing in the future. So it creates a whole mechanic around this one tiny thing, which I think is a lot better than just having a quick button triggered animation like we see in this trailer. But along with all these things that are taken out or changed in big ways that we've seen in all the trailers for Kingdom Come, the one thing I'm very glad about them changing is their character models and the voices. The voice acting is a little bit weak here, but I guess it goes without saying that all these in the trailers and things, they're very placeholder animations, placeholder character models and voice actors. And it just lets people have an idea of how the game is going to run and what's going to go on in this game at the time when they were first seeing this. But yes, I love the new characters compared to these placeholder ones. These probably most likely change, as the majority of characters, or at least the main characters in games, and especially Kingdom Come, are modelled after the voice actors. We see this in place with like Henry, and I can't remember his name, but whoever Brian Blessed plays, he was a great guy. But as I was saying, they're more modelled after the voice actors, hence why it is done later in development. I mean, Sir Radzig was still this chubby dude in the beta, so I'm glad he was finally changed in the full game. I don't think he would have suited the sort of time period, as if the things that he does in the game and the person he really is in the game, not giving away any spoilers, I don't think it really would have suited if he kept this character model. It doesn't make so much sense. But yes, he was changed in a big way, or at least I think that's Radzig in the beta. I can't remember for my playthrough. I'm probably going to have to go and watch that back. Look at Henry. He does look like a moody sod. The new Henry, as modelled after Tom McKay, of course, who is the voice actor, he looks absolutely identical if you've seen them side by side, but he feels way more like a nothing special type of guy, and that's the whole thing they were going for. They wanted him to be this guy that had just come from nothing, and he was nothing to the world, and he had to make a name for himself, which you do throughout the game. And the new model after Tom McKay, oh, actually that sounds really bad, that makes me seem like Tom McKay looks like some generic nothing special. I'm sorry, mate, if you're watching this, that's not what I meant it for at all. Because it's modelled after a normal dude, he looks more like a normal dude, where in the trailers, the Henry, he looked like this badass, you know, typical action movie guy who was all scowling, and he looked like he could do some mean business, but he didn't look like a normal dude like he does in the actual game. So I think it fits a lot better. I really hope I've not offended anyone by saying that Tom McKay looks like a normal dude. That's sort of a compliment. I'm gonna move on before I dig into an even bigger hole. Henry looks a lot more Hollywood, in my opinion, with the shaven beard. He looks very like perfect shaped in the trailers, and God, look at that scowl. That is a good scowl. The animations of course look 100 times better from the trailers, but once again, what happened to these massive battles that we've seen? This was a massive advertising point that there are going to be these massive battles that you could take part as a soldier in, but we never got them. And here's what I think happened to this, because I know there are a lot of complaints about this. When game companies make trailers, they want to sell their game. They want to attract as much people as possible. Therefore, a lot of the time, the majority of the trailer is made in-engine, not in-game. Now, they do sound similar things, and you might think they're the same thing, but the difference here is that you have the same things that you'd able to be doing in-game if you're doing a trailer in-engine, but without the optimization limitations. So, things like, if you're trying to make an actual gameplay trailer, you're always limited to the hardware you're using. If you're making an in-engine trailer, you're not limited to these hardware specifications, but in a sense, the engine limitations. So you can do a lot more, you can program it, animate a lot more. So, obviously, that is why most people do in-engine ones, because it makes it seem a lot cooler than things you could actually do in-game. But then again, I'm pretty sure, seeing how the first game ended, we're going to get a pretty big battle in the next act. So maybe that's just what it was saved for. Maybe the next act is when we get this massive battle. So who knows? But I'm not gonna lie, some of these alchemy animations and things that we saw, they look a bit nicer than in the actual game. To be fair though, they do look a little bit over the top, a little bit over animated in these trailers and things like that. So these massive hand gestures that you would expect, and they do look nice, but I guess it does have a more realistic tone the way it is in the game. But that's just my opinion. I thought it looked quite cool in the trailers compared to what we have in the normal game. Later on, they've started to show us how the living and breathing world was created in later 2015. And my god, this is when we first see how much of a different game this is from pretty much anything else we've got before. It shows how each individual NPC acts, their routine, etc. You can see each of the lines that takes, and how they can change their mind. If there's rain or something, they might not go out, and we can see how this is all being programmed in the game. We can see a bit of a walk through Rate, and you can see the game is starting to take place into the Kingdom Come that we can play today. Yeah, it still looks very dark, and so much contrast on that, and I'm very glad that was changed, but hey, it looks a lot more vibrant now, which, you know, it looks beautiful. It was probably a bit too over contrasted here. Next is a 1 hour long live stream. This was probably the first, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is the first proper, just raw gameplay that we saw of Kingdom Come Deliverance. Not the trailers. Yes, we saw bits of trailer gameplay here and there, stuff they wanted us to see, which is how game developers normally do it to get you hooked. But this is the first time that we sat down and we got raw gameplay for Kingdom Come. And it looked great. It was far from finished. You could tell because there was glitches here and there. They were going through and editing things as they were playing. But you could see the workings of a brilliant and unique game going on here. You can see how the inventory system has changed. The interaction text system has improved a lot in my opinion. It looks a little bit arcadey in this raw gameplay, so I'm glad that's been changed. The combat system though, that's one thing that seems to have stayed pretty similar throughout the whole development. And the reason is I think that's because this is their most proud point. Because it seems that they promoted this above everything else, that they created this unique combat system in their developer videos. That's why they've kept it pretty similar throughout, because they started with the combat and then moved on and tried to make the game around that. And I think that's why, for me at least, the combat is so successful and so different from anything else, and it has such that learning curve that you need to get your head around, but once you've got it, it is absolutely brilliant. Now 2015 is in full swing, and of course it's that time of the year with E3 coming around where everyone wants to show their games, and Kingdom Come Deliverance was on the ball. They showed a new trailer here, and they showed some pretty cool stuff. It started to show the game as we know it today, with improved graphics, animations, a whole busier world. It was where that trailer that I think everyone has pretty much seen, because it looks so badass, of those two knights dueling on the hillside with the sun in the background. It looks absolutely gorgeous. That is where that trailer came from. And finally, the beta was released. Now I played the beta, I played through the whole thing, and we could now get our hands on this for the first time in a long time. I think there was some alpha testing. I'm not 100% sure if that was public though, but if you played it, make sure you leave a comment down below. I think I saw a video of Metatron playing the alpha, but that might have been the beta. I can't quite recall. But if you want to see loads of in-depth of how the beta was and how different it was to the compared to the full game, remember I did do a whole series, so go and check out that playlist if you want to. But you could see when the beta was released, it was getting there. Everything was pretty much in place. Yeah, a lot of the character models, the animations were different. They hadn't been quite up to scratch. Voice acting wasn't yet fully in place either. and everything was good, except optimization. Oh my god. I know at the time, the optimization of the beta, it annoyed me, I think it's safe to say. I got it, and I didn't play it for about half a year. And that wasn't because I didn't want to. I wanted to so bad and record it. I just couldn't. Because on my, I think at the time I had an i5-4690K and a GTX 960. And I couldn't run it on anything above 30 FPS. And then later on in the year, I upgraded to my 1080 Ti Strix and i7-7700K. And even then, the beta would not go above 40 FPS, no matter what settings, low or high. It would just stick around that, and it really annoyed me. I finally got everything recorded, but my god, it was hard to record that beta. Thankfully, that was completely fixed for the full game. And then I think it's safe to say the rest retells itself. Kingdom Come Deliverance was held back various times for that development. I think the initial plan was 2015. You can see that didn't quite work out, but I'm glad they kept it on to improve it and release it finally on the 13th of February 2018. And boy, wasn't it a treat. Now, what can we expect from the future? I've already done videos on the DLC that's pretty much confirmed about playing as this woman character in Bohemia at the same time. Maybe it's a past or maybe it's a future storyline. We don't know all the details yet, but of course there is probably most likely going to be a second game, whether it's following on the main story or not, who knows. But anyway, I think Warhorse Studios have a lot left to give, and yes, we're still waiting for that third act, and I can't wait to see more information on that. Maybe it's going to be in about 3 or 4 years, that third act. It might take a while. It depends if it's going to be the same scale or the same length of the first one or not. Well, of course they will already develop the engine, a lot of the animations and combat for this first game, so I doubt the third act, whether it's an expansion, a sequel, or even a DLC, I doubt that will take as long, because of course they've already got this basis developed, but it's still a whole storyline, so I think we'll be waiting for quite some time. Kingdom Come Deliverance has come from an idea to a fully fledged game, and I think it's safe to say it's been pretty successful. So that is my video on the evolution of Kingdom Come Deliverance. If you enjoyed it, make sure you stick around the channel for some time. Make sure you leave a like on the video, because it is really appreciated. But obviously don't if you don't like the video. I know it's a strange concept, but dislike it if you didn't like it. I mean, it's mean, but it's the hard truth that I've got to deal with. You know, if you hate me, just hunt me down. No, don't. Please don't. No, I should not say that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until then, I will see you in the next one.